Well, it's time for this week's Sheriff Spotlight. Joining us now is Sergeant Christy Yoakley to talk about the dangers of leaving your kids in the car during those hot temperatures. Good morning.
Hi.
So, it's about that time of year. I was walking outside yesterday and got sunburned. So the temperatures are rising and it happens really fast here. Let's talk about how often you see kids being left in those hot vehicles.
We actually see it quite a bit. We'll have probably over 100 a year that people leave their children, and not that they die in the hot car, but they'll leave their children. Oklahoma has about averaged a little more than one a year, unfortunately.
Wow.
On actual fatalities in hot cars.
Wow. And
so,
you think, how could you forget your kid? But it happens all the time.
Yeah, normally, most often it happens when there's a change in routine. Like if mom is taking the child to the daycare every day and then they shift and dad has to take them, then we see that oftentimes causes the forgotten.
Action to help.
And they're just not used to it. And if the child's asleep or not making any noise, then they don't think about it.
Yeah, sometimes you just get caught up in your daily routine and forget about that
Exactly.
extra added responsibility there. So, excuse me, let's talk about how we can prevent that from happening.
Okay, first off is if you're going somewhere, have a plan that you always, when you park, you look before you lock. But also you can put like a briefcase, a purse, a personal item. I've known people that have put their shoe in the back seat. This way, when they stop somewhere, whatever it is that they need for the day, they've got to get it out of the back seat, and then they'll see that the child is there.
Yeah.
Another thing is we have trapped children that play in cars that it happens to. So keep your car keys out of reach of children. Keep the doors locked, and that can be parents, caregivers, neighbors, because children are curious, and car is a great hide and seek spot.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that's something I hadn't thought about before either, is if you come home, you leave your car unlocked, kids are just out playing doing their thing, and then they can lock themselves in the car accidentally.
So that's
Wow.
a big one there too.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. So what should somebody do if they're walking around and they see a kid in a potentially hot vehicle?
Well, first off, call 911 immediately. Then if it's a dire situation, we actually have it written in our state statute that if a bystander has to break a window in order to get a child out, that they're not held liable for that.
Wow, okay.
So, but first off is call 911 immediately, and kind of go from there.
All right.
Law enforcement will come. I've had the firemen will come out and they can get the doors open.
Yeah.
So.
Sergeant Yoakley, thank you so much for coming on today. A timely reminder as temperatures are starting to warm up out there.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for coming. Now let's go ahead and speaking of temperatures, let's take a look at them today. Elliot, that sun's going to pop out and warm things up.